What if the man she calls dad loses her to the one who walked away? That thought hit me like a freight train the moment the courtroom doors closed behind us. I wasn't prepared. I thought I could be brave, calm, composed, but now I was just a man standing on the edge of a cliff, watching the wind pull at everything I love. Lily was smiling at me just hours ago, her tiny hand gripping mine like it always had. Emily, strong as ever, trying to hold it together. But under that brave face, I saw it, the same fear that was suffocating me. Because tomorrow a judge would decide if I was enough. If love commitment showing up every single day could stand against biology and time already lost. And worst of all, I didn't know the answer. I once thought heartbreak ended with a funeral. I was wrong. Sometimes it begins again in the place you thought you found healing. Stay with me, because in the next few minutes, something will happen in that courtroom that no one saw coming, not even me, and it might just change everything, forever. David Walker sat alone in the back seat of his black Mercedes, staring blankly at the same streets of Manhattan he used to dominate. His driver Jason glanced nervously through the rearview mirror. "Sir, this isn't a safe neighborhood," Jason warned. "Brookside Heights isn't exactly your scene." David didn't respond. His hand was already on the door handle. "I need to walk. Just give me a minute." "Mr. Walker, we have that video call with the Tokyo board in 2 hours. We're already late for cancel it." David snapped, his voice sharp, surprising even himself. "Tell them I'm sick." "Sick, sir? That's the 3rd time this month." "Just do it, Jason," he muttered, stepping out before another word could be said. Brookside Heights, a world away from the penthouses, boardrooms, and Michelin-star dinners he used to swim in. This neighborhood smelled like laundry detergent and fried food. Kids screamed joyfully as they chased old soccer balls down cracked sidewalks. A woman was hanging laundry while humming a lullaby. For the first time in months, David felt something. Since Rachel died, he had been drifting, floating through weeks of meetings and markets, his billion-dollar empire growing steadily while his soul withered. Nothing made sense anymore. His wealth, his position, it all felt like a joke without her. Rachel had wanted a child so badly. They tried everything. But after the accident, her dreams died with her. David's footsteps slowed as a crumpled yellow flyer taped to a chain-link fence caught his eye. Father-daughter dance. Tonight, or 7 p.m., Oak Ridge Elementary Gym. He stood there frozen, reading the words over and over. Rachel's voice echoed in his head. "Can you imagine a little girl with your smile and my eyes? You'd twirl her at school dances like a prince." His heart cracked open again. Then he heard it. Soft sniffles, barely audible. He turned toward the school steps and saw her, a girl maybe 7 or 8. She sat on the cold concrete in a baby blue dress with white lace shoes polished to perfection. Her hands clutched the edge of her skirt as her shoulders shook with quiet sobs. David's instincts kicked in. He looked around, no adults, no teacher in sight. A few dads had arrived, awkwardly straightening ties while their daughters tugged at their hands in excitement. But this little girl was utterly alone. He approached slowly, carefully, like walking toward a wounded animal. "Hey there. You all right?" His voice was low, gentle. She looked up. Red eyes, tear-streaked cheeks, the kind of sorrow that didn't belong on a child's face. "It's the father-daughter dance," she whispered. "And I don't have a dad." David's breath caught. That single sentence punched him harder than any boardroom betrayal ever had. He sat down next to her, his expensive suit brushing against the dust-covered steps. "Where's your mom?" he asked. "At work," she said. "She's a nurse. She works nights." She said, "Maybe next year. And your dad, I guess I have one. But he doesn't live with us. He doesn't call. Not really." David nodded slowly. "What's your name, Lily?" He smiled gently. "Nice to meet you, Lily. I'm David." She squinted at him suspiciously. "You look like someone from TV." He laughed for the first time in weeks. "I get that a lot." "Do you have a daughter?" she asked. "No," he said quietly. "I never did." "Then why are you here?" That question stopped him. Why was he here? "I don't know," he said. "But I saw your poster, and I saw you, and—" I didn't want to keep walking. Lily hesitated, then said barely above a whisper, "If you want, you could be my dad for tonight." David blinked. "Are you sure I'm not supposed to talk to strangers?" But if you ask Mrs. Thompson, the school principal, and she says it's okay, then it's okay. David turned. An older woman stood nearby watching the crowd. Lily led him over and introduced him. This is Mr. David. He's a friend. My mom couldn't come. Mrs. Thompson gave David a long, suspicious once-over. His Rolex Italian shoes and tailored coat made him look like a man wildly out of place here. But then she looked at Lily's hopeful face and simply nodded. All right then, just for tonight. Inside the gym, the transformation was stunning. Balloons in pink and blue, glittering lights, folding tables covered in white tablecloths, cheap but beautiful. David felt like a fraud in a tux among men in denim shirts and scuffed sneakers, but Lily didn't seem to care. Are you nervous? She asked, taking his hand. A little. Don't worry, I practiced all week with Mom. I'll lead. The music started soft and sentimental. Lily stepped forward and placed his hand on her waist just like she had seen in the movies. Okay, now you put your hand here, and I put mine here, she said, adjusting his arms like a dance teacher. Good. Now we sway. David leaned down so their heights matched. Lily's head barely reached his ribs, but she moved with the elegance of a tiny ballerina. Where'd you learn to dance like this? He asked. My mom says dancing is like flying, but with your feet still on the ground. David chuckled, but inside something stirred. This child was lighting something back to life in him. As the song ended and the next one picked up with more energy, Lily started to twirl. She giggled and even dared David to try a silly step. He nearly tripped but caught himself, and then they both burst out laughing. A woman nearby called out, "That's the sweetest father-daughter pair I've seen tonight." David's throat tightened. He wasn't her father, but God, he wished he was. They danced the night away, played musical chairs, shared punch. Lily even dragged him around to meet her friends, proudly calling him my dad David. It broke him and healed him at the same time. As the night drew to a close, Lily sat in his lap, exhausted but glowing. Her tiny head rested against his chest. Mr. David, can you be my dad every day? He froze, heart hammering. Before he could answer, the gym doors swung open, and a woman rushed in, disheveled in scrubs, panic in her eyes. Lily? Oh my God! Lily jumped up. Mom, look who came to the dance. This is Mr. David. He danced with me. Her mother, Emily Carter, stared at David like she was staring at a stranger with a weapon. Who are you? She asked sharply, pulling Lily behind her. David stood slowly. My name is David Walker. I just didn't want her to spend the night alone. Emily's jaw clenched. You danced with my daughter, I did. But I can explain. No need, she cut him off. Lily, we're leaving. But Mom, he's not a bad guy. He's nice. He danced with me and bought me juice. And that's enough. Emily glanced back, but not with thanks. With fear. With judgment. She didn't know who he was or why a billionaire would show up at a school dance in Brookside Heights. And honestly, David wasn't sure either. As Lily was led away, she looked over her shoulder, eyes glossy again. You'll come back, won't you? David didn't answer. He couldn't. And if someone you loved called a stranger dad after one night, what would you do? If this story touched your heart even a little, we hope you'll give it a like. It's only just getting started. Emily Carter barely slept that night. She had locked the front door 3 times, checked the windows, and peeked in on Lily 4 times before finally collapsing onto the couch, her hospital scrubs still clinging to her skin. What kind of man shows up at a school dance and pretends to be a child's father? But the question that haunted her more was, why did Lily look so happy when she was with him? The next morning, Lily woke up glowing. Mom, she said, while tying her sneakers, I dreamed about Mr. David. He spun me like a ballerina, and we won the musical chairs again. Lily, Emily tried to speak, but the words didn't come easily. Sweetheart, you know he's not really your dad, right? Lily nodded. I know, but he felt like one. That single sentence broke something in Emily she didn't know could still break. She didn't have time for emotions, not with back-to-back shifts and overdue rent notice, and a child who was far too used to microwave dinners and empty chairs at school events. But what scared her most was how not scared she felt when she saw David holding her daughter. Later that night, as Emily prepared dinner in their tiny kitchen, the phone rang. She almost didn't answer. "Hello, Ms. Carter," a warm, low voice said. "It's David Walker. I hope I'm not intruding." Emily's heart skipped. "How did you get this number?" I asked Mrs. Thompson. I needed to say, "I'm sorry if I scared you. That wasn't my intention." Emily stayed silent, torn between anger and curiosity. "I wasn't trying to play a role," David continued. "I just saw your daughter crying, and something inside me couldn't let her stay alone. She reminded me of someone I lost." A pause. "My wife Rachel died 6 months ago. We were supposed to have a daughter. We tried everything, but after the accident, well, we never got the chance." Emily felt her breath hitch. His voice was steady, but beneath it was grief so raw it sliced through her defenses. "I understand if you never want me near Lily again," David added. "But if you'd consider talking, just talking, I'd be grateful." She hesitated. Every instinct as a mother screamed no, but something deeper, quieter whispered, "Wait." "All right," she said finally. "You can come by. Today, just to talk." When David arrived, Lily sprinted to the door before Emily could even greet him. "Mr. David," she squealed. "Did you come to play? I brought something sweeter than toys," he said, pulling out a small box. "Chocolates." Lily's face lit up. Emily stood behind her, arms crossed, trying not to smile. "Come in," she said quietly. David stepped into the small home, instantly out of place in his tailored coat. Yet he looked more relaxed than Emily expected, especially when he sat beside Lily and listened to her ramble about her spelling test and a classmate named Sophie who thinks spiders are pets. After dinner, microwave quesadillas, which David claimed were better than any New York taco joint, Emily finally asked what had been burning in her chest all day. "What exactly do you want from us?" David didn't flinch. "Nothing. People like you," she said, "don't show up without wanting something." "I used to think that way," David said, voice low. "But lately, I just want to matter to someone again. I have everything. But I go home every night to a house filled with silence and shadows." He turned toward Lily, who was now doodling a picture of the three of them. "And then this tiny hurricane of joy called me her dad for one night, and I didn't feel dead inside anymore." Emily wanted to push him away, but his honesty cracked something in her. "You're not her father," she said firmly. "I know," he whispered, "but I'd like to be in her life if you'll let me, even just as a friend." Emily stared at him. "Lily's had too many people disappear. If you say you'll be here, you have to mean it." "I do," he said, "more than you know." And so it began. David started coming by on Tuesdays and Thursdays to help Lily with homework. On Saturdays, they visited the park while Emily worked long shifts at the hospital. He never brought expensive gifts, just stories, time, presence. Lily bloomed. 3 months passed. Then everything cracked. It was a Sunday morning when Emily got the call. "Emily, it's Mark." Her blood turned cold. Mark Harris, Lily's biological father. Gone for nearly 2 years. No birthday calls, no support, just silence. "What do you want?" she hissed. "I heard you have some new guy pretending to be my kid's dad." "That's not happening." Emily froze. "How do you even know about that Facebook, Emily? Pictures don't lie. I'm her father, and I'm taking her back." She gripped the edge of the counter. "You have no idea who she is anymore. I've got a job now, a real place, and I've got rights." "Rights," she snapped. "Where were your rights when she had pneumonia? And I couldn't leave her side for 3 nights when she cried herself to sleep, asking why you never called silence. Then I'll see you in court." Emily collapsed into a chair, breath ragged. Just then Lily walked in. "Mom, why are you crying?" Emily swallowed. "Just tired, baby. Want me to call Mr. David? He always makes you smile." Emily hesitated, then nodded. "Yeah, call him." An hour later, David sat in their kitchen as Emily told him everything. "He's going to file for custody," she said. "And I don't have the money for a lawyer." David didn't hesitate. "I'll take care of it. I can't let you." "You're not letting me. I'm doing it." She stared at him, tears in her eyes. "And what if the judge says he's right, that Mark is her father by law?" David looked at her, then at Lily, who was singing softly in the next room. "Then we fight," he said. "And if we lose, we fight harder." But deep inside, David knew love alone might not be enough. He wasn't Lily's blood. He was just a man who showed up at the right moment. and hadn't left since. But what if that wasn't enough? And if you were Emily, would you let David stay in your daughter's life? We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. And if this story moved you, please leave a like and show your support by hitting the heart. Part 3 is coming, and everything's about to change. The courtroom was silent, the kind of silence that swallows you whole. David Walker sat beside Emily, his jaw-clenched eyes trained on the mahogany bench where the judge would soon decide whether a stranger's love could outweigh a father's blood. Across the room, Mark Harris sat smugly dressed in a crisp suit that didn't quite fit. His lawyer flipped through a folder filled with evidence, pay stubs, apartment leases, proof that he had changed. On paper, he looked like a man who wanted to be a father. But papers didn't tell the truth Lily lived. When the judge entered, everyone rose. And then it began. Mark's attorney spoke first. Polished words, claims of redemption, regret. My client simply wants to reconnect with the daughter he never stopped loving, he said without a single tremble in his voice. David could feel Emily tighten beside him. She was holding herself together like glass stretched too thin. Then came Emily's lawyer, Mr. Jonathan Green. Calm, deliberate, devastating. He painted the full picture, the years of abandonment, the silence during birthdays, the medical emergencies faced alone. He handed over printouts of texts, never returned gifts, never sent calls, never answered. And then finally he pointed to David. This man, he said, has no legal connection to Lily, but he has something far stronger. He has shown up every single day, without obligation, without expectation, with love. The judge turned to David. Mr. Walker, what exactly is your relationship to the child? David stood. His voice was steady, but his soul was raw. I met Lily by accident, he began. She was crying on the steps of her school during a father-daughter dance. She didn't have anyone. And I hadn't mattered to anyone in a long time. I asked if I could be her dad for just one night. But that night changed everything. He paused, looked at Emily. Then at Lily, sitting quietly in the back, her little legs swinging off the bench, clutching the stuffed rabbit he'd given her months ago. I'm not her blood. I'm not her past. But I hope more than anything to be part of her future. The judge leaned forward. Lily, he said gently, can you come up here, sweetheart? Everyone held their breath as Lily walked slowly to the front. The judge smiled warmly. Can you tell me who David is to you? Lily looked at the courtroom full of adults, then looked up at the judge. He's my dad, she said clearly. Maybe not the kind you're born with, but the kind who stays, the kind who comes to school, plays, and holds your hand when you're scared, the kind who doesn't disappear. The room was frozen. Even Mark looked down. Do you want to live with Mr. Walker? The judge asked. With Mom and Mr. David, she corrected. Because we're a family. The judge nodded slowly, then returned to his bench. I'll take a short recess, he announced. Final decision after lunch. Outside on the courthouse steps, Emily exhaled for the first time that day. I shouldn't have let it get this far, she whispered. David took her hand. You fought for her. That's what matters. An hour later, the gavel dropped. The court rules in favor of Miss Emily Carter, retaining full custody of Lily Carter. Mr. Mark Harris is granted supervised visitation pending Lily's willingness. The room broke into quiet sighs, but the twist came days later. A letter arrived, handwritten, from Mark. It read, Emily, I watched that little girl look a man in the eyes and call him Dad. And I realized she was right. I haven't earned that title. I never will. David's done what I never could. He gave her stability and love. I'm signing over my rights. Let him adopt her. She deserves the father I never learned how to be. Take care of her. Mark Emily read it aloud at the kitchen table, her voice trembling. When she finished, David said nothing. He just sat there stunned, like the world had shifted beneath him. Does this mean... Lily looked between them. Emily nodded. Yes, sweetheart. It means David can legally adopt you. Lily didn't speak. She just launched herself into David's arms. Does that mean I can call you Dad every day? You always could, he whispered, choking back tears. Now it's just official. 3 months later, they stood in a sunny backyard, surrounded by friends, neighbors, and a very proud Lily, in a pink dress throwing flower petals down the aisle. Emily walked toward David, radiant in a simple ivory gown, and he thought this is what home feels like. Their vows were simple but filled with truth. When the officiant asked, "Do you take this woman and her daughter as your family?" David said yes before the question was done. Lily handed them the rings with shaking hands, then shouted, "I now declare us a real family." Laughter, applause, tears, and healing. Because this wasn't just a wedding. It was a beginning. A year later, Lily became a big sister to baby Noah. And 2 years after that, another little girl named Grace arrived. David never forgot the dance that started it all. He created a foundation in Rachel's name to sponsor fatherless girls at school events. Every year, he returns to Oak Ridge Elementary with a borrowed tie and dances with children who need someone to stand in for the person who didn't show up. Because sometimes the people who change your life aren't the ones you're born to, but the ones who choose to stay. And that one night when David Walker chose to stop walking was the night he chose to live again. Now let us ask you something. Have you ever met someone who became family even without blood ties? And if you had one chance to step in for someone at the right moment, would you take it? What do you think of this story? If you loved it, type number 3 in the comments. If you think it was just okay, type number 2. And if it didn't touch you at all, type number 1. We always welcome honest feedback. Tell us where you're watching from. We love seeing viewers from around the world. And don't forget to tap that heart and share this video with someone who believes family is more than just DNA.